and does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. Welcome in. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson, your host. Again, welcome in. If you're viewing us on Facebook, glad to have you. Very excited to start the week. This special edition of Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers is brought to you by KHTS in collaboration with SCVi and iLEAD Charter Schools. We come to you live each day at 9 a.m., providing support and updates for your distance learning journey. And we also continue to curate and add new resources to our website that is also there to support you, homeschoolinganswers.com. Head on over to homeschoolinganswers.com if you need any support, any help working with your learners. You can take a look at all the different resources that we have. They're sorted by grade level, they're sorted by subject. We've also got parent tips and advice and different things to keep you sane, to keep you healthy, to keep everything moving in the right direction. So happy Monday. Glad you're here. Today is National Story Day. You know we love to celebrate the holidays. What a great day to celebrate. Tell a story. Tell a true story. Tell a made-up story. Parents, grandparents, share a story with the kids. You know, tell them about the day you met, or the day they were born, or why you decided to take this path and not that path. Pass on that oral tradition in your family, or have a good time. Pick up the phone, call your grandkids, and tell them a story that makes absolutely no sense at all. But tell a story today. I've got a story for you. It's the story of a guy whose entire career is predicated on large social gatherings. Yeah, he's a DJ. So coronavirus hits, here comes that Rona, and there are very few people out there with a better excuse to just flop down on their couch and say, woe is me, and try to ride this one out. But not the hero of our story, because that's not what heroes do. Could you imagine if Batman stayed on his couch, you know, the commissioner's on the phone, and Batman's going, yeah, no way, man. Have you seen the news? There's this guy with paint all over his face. He's psycho. I ain't going out there. No, that's not what heroes do. And the hero of this story knows his 7 habits. He knows that habit number 1 is be proactive. Life doesn't happen to me. I make life happen. So here's the story, and it's a true one. Yesterday, I got a phone call from a friend of mine. His son was having a birthday, and I immediately felt bad for him. You know, I feel bad for anybody in this time who's celebrating a birthday, an anniversary, a special occasion. But before I could even get my thoughts out to say, oh, man, I'm so sorry, he interrupted me. He says, no, he had the best birthday ever. See, a few weeks ago, he had heard Graham Silver, the driveway DJ, on her show. So he called him, and Graham came out. He told him before he came out he told my friend to let all the neighbors know, all the neighbors that have kids, let them know that he's coming. And you know what? Even the families that didn't have kids, they came out, and he was telling me that Graham had them dancing. He was playing games with them. They laughed. They did the YMCA, the Cupid Shuffle. He said that Graham was great about keeping his distance, even when he was all done and it was time to unplug. He was kind of shouting from his Jeep. He said, hey, unplug my extension cord there. He wasn't going to wander into the garage and unplug his own extension cord. He said that Graham's sound system was great. They had so much fun, and it all ended with an inter-family water balloon fight, water balloons flying back and forth across the street. My friend was so excited. He couldn't wait to call and thank me. And the amazing part, you know, Graham, he doesn't even charge. He does not charge a dime for his services. He does this for free, and only offers families the opportunity to tip him at the end. And, you know, my friend and his son, they had a great time, and so did everyone else in the neighborhood. And I'm so inspired by Graham and the way he's pivoted. He's a DJ whose business simply stopped overnight about 6 weeks ago, right? And my heart goes out to anyone who's in a similar situation through absolutely no fault of their own. But Graham is a hero because he found a way to shift what he does, and he's found a way to continue his business under a completely different model while providing a unique and valuable service to families. So if your kid's having a birthday, or hey, graduation's coming up, whether it's kindergarten or sixth grade or eighth grade or high school graduation or any other kind of celebration, give Graham a call. You don't need a special occasion to treat your kids either. You know, you can have the driveway DJ come on out to celebrate Wednesday, or you schedule a neighborhood TGIF festival or a Saturday sidewalk soiree. You can contact Graham at drivewaydj.com. Super easy, drivewaydj.com. And, get that party started in your neighborhood in a safe and healthy way. And that is a true story. So let's go ahead and get our show started. We've got a great week ahead of us. We'll have Mayor Cameron Smythe on tomorrow. You know, he's our steady Tuesday date. We'll also be hearing from Marley Laufer from Henry Mayo Newhall Memorial Hospital. We'll be talking to Assembly member Christy Smith. We're excited about that. She's running for Congress. We spoke with her opponent, Mike Garcia, last week. We're excited to have Christy on. And we've started a very special segment called Senior Spotlight, where we're honoring individual seniors from our area high schools during this time that should be an exciting time for each and every one of them, except for this crazy pandemic. And so we're going to be highlighting seniors once again all week, one a day. So we've got our senior coming in today. Today we're going to be honoring Ahriana Galbraith. We'll also be talking to SCVi Spanish teacher Erika Cedeno, who's creating quite a buzz for herself around not only Santa Clarita, but statewide. We've got Larry Schallert, Assistant Director of Student Health and Wellness and Mental Health Programs at College of the Canyons. He's got some great advice for us, some tips, as well as some terrific information that you need to know about how COC is supporting their students and the entire community, really. And we've also got our show's official licensed marriage and family therapist, Christina DeBray. So we're very excited. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a fantastic week. Why? Because that's what we choose, and we're going to make it so. My first guest is the absolute most energetic and happy person I have ever met in my life. She's an educator who brings 100% of her love to her classes every single day. Erika Cedeno has been working at SCVi as a Spanish facilitator since 2015. She's a graduate from the Universidad Autónoma de México in Mexico City, where she earned her BA. Excuse me, got that frog in my throat again. She earned her BA in pedagogy. She has a degree in Spanish language, and she's been here in the U.S. for more than 13 years now. However, Erika's been teaching for over 25 years, from elementary through college. In 2016, the Department of Education, that's right, the California Department of Education, hired her to be the writer of the CASP en Español. That is the Spanish language assessment test that recent arrivals to the U.S. take here in California. She loves to write the test for the state of California, and she adores being able to help not only her learners of SCVi, but everyone who crosses her path. Erika also loves to run. She completed her first, check this out, she completed her first 50-mile ultra marathon in 2016 and her first half Ironman in 2018. She says that running allows you to look at life differently. It renews you and allows you to adjust your perspective, looking at life's difficulties with a greater level of sanity. And recently, she became the coach for SCVi's cross-country team and the swim team. She enjoys coaching because she gets to show her learners how to be passionate and determined in reaching their goals and never giving up on themselves. Erika, good morning.
Good morning, Matt. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. It's an honor.
It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining us. So before we get too deep into it, tell us about the beginning of your career. How and why did you get started in teaching?
Well, when I finished high school, I was determined that to start a medical career. Can you believe it? I want to be a doctor and specialize in pediatrics.
Oh, you'd
and
be
my
the best
father,
pediatrician.
yeah. my father was like, no. I didn't see me very convinced me by the fact that I'm very, very sentimental person who loves to give love.
Okay.
You know that.
I know that.
And one day he told me to rethink it better, because in the pediatric career, I was going to see many sick children.
Right.
He also told me that I can be an inspiration for so many kids. So I decided to switch and start a career in science of education. And I know in the end, this was my best decision.
Well, I'm sure you would have been a great pediatrician, but I know also that so many kids have benefited from having you. Just these last 5 years at SCVi, I can only imagine the thousands of lives that you touched when you were teaching back in Mexico. Now, I did read that when you were teaching back in Mexico that you got involved in the national exams that children take there. Why was that important to you?
Well, before I finished my career, I already had many job offers. And I started in elementary school with the little and lovely humans. And why is important? Because as an educator, it is very important to be involved in all the decisions that the Department of Education makes. Because the advances and the assessments change every day. The way that you're evaluating, they change every day. When you get involved on how standardization apply to the evaluation of learning, allows us to obtain reliable indicators of education quality.
You know, that's really interesting because as you're talking, Erika, I'm thinking about all these different decisions and policies and different things that the state or the Department of Education, the Ministry of Education, depending on where you're at, all these different things that they develop. And so many of our teacher friends, you know, we sit back and we can complain, right? We can talk about how, oh, look what the state did to us now. Look what the Department of Education is making us do. This is terrible. This is awful. But you know habit number one, just like Graham Silver that I was talking about before. Life doesn't happen to you. You can, well, it can if you let it, right? You can sit back and let life happen, or you can go out and make life happen and be one of those people that's affecting change. So that's an amazing standpoint to have. Thank you.
And I think this type of testing is used to compare at the community or country level the results of students based on their performance, and without the direct influence of the socioeconomic environment.
Yeah, so it's important that we get involved.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Now, flash forward a few years, you joined SCVi in 2015, and you teach all levels of Spanish. So you teach learners who are coming in who have never had a background in Spanish, but you also teach IB Spanish. That's International Baccalaureate. Can you describe a little bit about what IB is in general and then what it looks like in your Spanish class?
Okay, IB is a beautiful program. I literally love it because when I teach them all my knowledge and I give them the tools to be successful, I think the IB program is full of advantage, and even more when you study a foreign language. You have many resources that make it dynamic, pleasant, and full of experience. The IB program focuses on teaching learners to think critically and independently. As well, they are going to be supportive and logical.
Okay, so it's a very well-rounded curriculum, but it also goes very deep. It's a difficult class, isn't it?
It's a difficult class.
Yeah, and after the course of, it's actually designed as a 2-year course, right? And so it's designed for our juniors and seniors to take as a 2-year course. And then they take a test, right? We were talking about tests. They take a test at the end of the 2 years, and so it's very rigorous, and they're tested on several levels, right? They have a written test. Do they have?
They have oral tests.
Right, where they. It's funny. They've actually been Zooming or Skyping for years, even before the pandemic, right? Where your students are Skyping in with evaluators from around the world, having conversations in Spanish.
Yes.
And then what other part of that the test is there?
Excuse me?
Is there, so there's a written portion, an oral portion, and then is there a third portion to the test as well?
They are trying to include the listening portion.
Oh, okay. But they haven't added that one yet.
No.
Okay. So it can be very rigorous, and I know it's difficult for learners to prepare normally for the test, but with schools closed, it must be very difficult for your learners who are seniors starting to prepare for that test. How are they doing?
As an educator, Matt, you need to prepare your learners for any eventuality. Having a dynamic class and a structure, they can handle it. And when you put it online, they know from the beginning that they had to read their agenda. They need to start with their activities, discussions. And here in IB, I have implemented a lot of reading and writing in Spanish. Also, a lot of projects. And I think this is making the difference, because the grammar they are going to forget in some point, but when you have a experience, they are going to learn the subject more.
You're absolutely right. You know, I speak Spanish as a second language, and I do okay, me defiendo. But
you are really, really good.
I do okay. You're right. I remember for years I was studying, and I studied all the grammar, but that didn't really help me. It wasn't until I really got involved with the language that I became fluent. So you're right. Doing projects, doing authentic work in Spanish, in any foreign language is really key. That's the key to any subject, I think. But I love what you said at the beginning, Erika, that it's the job of any teacher to prepare their students for any eventuality. So you think they're going to do okay this year?
I'm gonna do okay. Yeah.
Okay, great. Now,
you know me, and I never give up.
Yeah.
And I never give up my kids, mis niños adorados.
And you give them everything that you have, and I know how much they appreciate that. Now, speaking of testing, I understand you also got involved in some of the state testing here in California. I mentioned it when I was introducing you. Can you tell us about that? How did you get involved with the CASP en Español, which is, again, so let me back up. I want to explain a little bit for my listeners. So CASP, you may have seen if you've got kids, you see it every spring in your emails as it's rolling out. That's the end of the year testing that the state of California does with all of our students. It's called the CASP. It's an acronym that stands for the California Assessment of something or other. I'm not sure I got that exactly right. But that's
California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress.
Look at you. Fantastic. Well, students who are recent immigrants and English is their second language for, I think it's the first year, right, Erika? They take the CASP in their native language. So you got involved in writing the test in Spanish for recent Spanish-speaking immigrants. How did you get involved, and what did you do, or what are you doing?
Okay, in 2017, Anna Donovan sent me an invitation for a writing training.
And she's someone you work with, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And CASP and CDE, together with ETS, they love my resume and my experience. And after that, they start sending me the material to write the items for the state Spanish assessment. This is a wonderful project, Matt, because I am looking this from the beginning, and I have to collaborate with the standardization and the elaboration of the content and the implementation of the assessment. As you know, California Spanish Assessment, the CSA, is a component of the CASP, and is presented in Spanish, and is available to serve more than 1.2 million students who speak Spanish as a primary language. And they measure students' competency and the Spanish reading language arts, and provide student-level data in Spanish.
Okay.
They evaluate the implementation of Spanish reading language arts programs at local level.
Because there are schools that do teach kids still to read and write in their first language before they transition into English, correct?
Yeah, correct.
So it evaluates those programs, okay.
Yes, and they provide a high school measure survey to be used for part of the state seal of biliteracy. The California Spanish State of Seal of Biliteracy, marked by a gold seal on the diploma transcript, and recognizes high school graduates who have attained a high level of proficiency in speaking, reading, and writing one or more language in addition to the English.
And that they actually do whether or not English is your first language. For example, my son, English is his first language, but he's hoping to graduate this year with that bilingual certificate, that seal of biliteracy on his diploma. Yes. Erika, we do have to take a quick commercial break, but are you willing to come back? Can you come back after the commercial? Stick around with us for just a few more minutes? Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. We're talking with Erika Cedeno. She's a Spanish teacher, but so much more. She's such an inspiration for her students and for so many of us. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but don't go away. We'll be right back. You're listening to SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers. I'm your host, Matt Watson, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Omelets or pancakes? You used to have to flip a coin. But not anymore, because for a limited time, all 10 of our hearty omelets now come with unlimited pancakes. Which means this coin doesn't have to choose anymore.
What? I don't have to choose anymore? Ah! Later, choosers! I'm free!
Choose not to choose. Over 10 omelets now come with unlimited pancakes.
Oh!
At IHOP.
And now, a cooking tip from Keith Mowry of Bob's Country Meats. Cooking brisket is simple, whether you do it in the oven or on the grill.
Okay, briskets come out nice. You want to brown them up real good on the barbecue over medium heat. Season them up however you like. Wrap them in foil. Put them on the other side, go down to a low temperature, low heat, and let that go for about 2.5, 3 hours, just on the low with the lid closed.
For the tastiest brisket in town, visit Bob's Country Meats on Soledad in Canyon Country.
As the stay-at-home order continues through the month of April, Burger King is committed to following state and federal safety guidelines when it comes to serving you, the customer. Although in-restaurant dining has closed, pickup and delivery service continues. The current hours are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can mobile order through the BK app for pickup, or you can use any of the delivery services like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and Postmates. Burger King on Lyons at the 5 Freeway, now with service at 2 drive-through windows.
California Credit Union, the only credit union in Santa Clarita focused on our educational community. California Credit Union offers low rates on loans for personal and business services, along with financial services for teachers, students, staff, and families. Free checking and very low new and used auto loan rates.
California Credit Union, your personal credit union, located in the River Oak Shopping Center next to Target.
Visit us and open an account today. Insured by NCUA, an agency of the federal government.
He broke records and piloted the F-18 Super Hornet in combat. Answering our nation's call, he served with honor. Then Mike Garcia returned home to his family, to a far worse California from where he grew up. Now, Garcia's next mission: cut taxes, clean up homelessness in our cities. With California on the brink, we need a fighter to answer the call once again. Mike Garcia for Congress.
I'm Mike Garcia, and I approve this message.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 on the FM dial and 1220 AM. We are also here on Facebook Live. Hope you're joining us. Hope you're enjoying the show. This is SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers with Matt Watson. We're talking this morning with Spanish facilitator at SCVi, Erika Cedeno, and she was talking about some of the amazing things we've been focusing mostly on the area of assessment, test items. Erika was telling us how she got involved early on in her career when she was teaching in Mexico and helping develop the tests that were going to be administered to her kids. What a proactive and powerful thing for an educator to do. And then when she moved here to California and started working at SCVi, she very quickly got involved in the same thing, and now she's helping to write the Spanish language assessments for various students in and around the state of California. And she's doing some amazing things with her kids, too. Erika, welcome back. Thank you again for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt.
So now that our campuses are closed, I know how warm and affectionate you are, and how much you enjoy being around your students. It's difficult with the campuses closed now, and we're doing distance learning. So how are you working with your kids? How are you able to bring the same level of education to your kids with our campuses closed, or are you? Is it more difficult now?
It is hard, but it's not impossible. I am trying to do fun projects, fun activities, and keep them interested. I made a virtual recipe. I call it La Cocina de mi Cedeno, and I made chilaquiles. Oh. And I thought that they were going to have no interest in, and the contrary, it was a success. They create some videos full of creativity, editing, music, and they put a lot of effort.
So you taught them to make chilaquiles in their kitchen while you were remote in your kitchen. Now,
yes.
a little bird, un pajarito, told me that
Uh-huh.
you did something fun. They didn't know that they were going to be making chilaquiles. This isn't a project that you set up and had them go out and get the materials, did you? You surprised them.
Yes, I sent an email to my parents, my wonderful parents, and it's a surprise, don't tell them. And they they were in the kitchen. Why we are in the kitchen? And I, hi, we are in the kitchen because we are going to make chilaquiles.
That's a great surprise. So yeah, Erika sent an email to the parents of all of her learners and had them do the shopping. She sent the ingredients, had them do the shopping the week before. And then, yeah, when she zoomed in with her learners, she said, okay, everybody, let's go to the kitchen. Vamos a la cocina. And she said, we're going to make chilaquiles. You have all the ingredients there in the refrigerator. Get them out and let's start cooking.
Yes.
And so she taught them all to make chilaquiles. And while I didn't get to taste them, because, of course, I'm keeping my social distance, I saw a lot of the pictures online. They look so delicious. And then you turned around and you had kids make their own recipes, right?
Yes.
So what
Yes,
kind of
they did.
recipes, what did they teach you to make?
They pancakes, smoothies, quesadillas, guacamole, avocado toast, salad, parfaits. Tacos. And they dress up, and I was really, every time that I opened my grading book, they were a lot of videos, and I was crying because they were really amazing, Matt. Really amazing.
See, that's what's beautiful, Erika. You obviously you're prepared. You're an expert in your area. You have your degree in Spanish language, and you do a great job teaching. But what makes you such an amazing educator is you bring so much of your heart. You bring so much passion to the table that the kids give that same level of passion and love right back to you. And so they don't just make a video of them popping waffles in the toaster and putting syrup on them. They're going to give you, when you give them everything, they want to give you their everything. I've seen some of the videos, and they are just absolutely inspiring. And, some of them made me laugh so much.
Yes, yes. And Matt, I wanted to tell you, my classes are full of love and empathy. And we need to educate like this right now. We need to have a lot of empathy. Because if you have empathy, they are going to learn more.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, Erika, what I think there is this silver lining. Of course, none of us want to be stuck at home. We all want to be in our churches, at our schools, out in the parks playing and participating in sports and all those different things. But I think you're right. I think what you have always brought to your classroom that some people didn't necessarily see the need for, now we're being given that opportunity that all of us as teachers are realizing, yeah, this is something that we do have to bring to our classes every single day, is that love, that empathy. Otherwise, we're not even getting half of our students' potential out of them.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
Speaking of potential, you for those of you that have never met Erika, she is this teeny tiny little thing. She looks like a little pulguita, but she is so powerful. And don't you ever get in her way. I mentioned in her introduction, she runs ultra marathons and Ironman and things like that. And now you're coaching too, right, Erika?
Yes.
What sports
yes.
do you coach?
I am coaching cross country and swim.
Okay, so cross country is a fall sport. How did your cross country?
It's a fall sport.
How did they do this year?
They did great. They did great. It was tough because we had a lot of fires at the end, and we didn't finish.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about how the fires affected fall sports.
Yes.
Gosh, this year has been crazy for our kids and for all of us.
Yes. And now.
Oh
my God.
Swimming is a spring sport, right?
Yeah.
So you haven't been able to participate.
One meet.
You had
Just
one swim meet. Okay. Oh gosh. Did your kids do okay in that one swim meet?
They did amazing, but they were really frustrated at the end because they say, I want to swim and I can't. Yeah.
That is so frustrating. And my heart goes out to all of the spring athletes. There's the baseball players and softball players, and I know
tennis
there's
players.
Yeah. Oh gosh, there's so many sports and kids who are seniors again who are missing out on that final year of playing, or I know there are some teams in town that were looking forward to being very, very competitive this year. This was going to be their championship year. This was going to be the year that they got things done. But the universe had other plans, and that is the way things happen sometimes. Erika, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I do have another story of inspiration I want to share with my listeners before we go. But Erika, thank you so much for your time, your inspiration. I look forward to the day that you and I can get together and hug each other again, and the government will be okay with that.
Yes.
Thank you again, Erika. Cuídate, you be well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Matt.
Of course. Excuse me. Erika is such an inspiration, and over the weekend I glom onto inspiration. That's what keeps me going. People will often ask me, what keeps you so positive? Well, my answer to that is, there's no reason to be negative. We can find reasons to be negative, but what does that do? It brings me down, and that's not what I'm about. But on the other hand, when other people are upbeat and positive, it really inspires me. It really gets me going. And I was watching a little bit of TV while I was cleaning the house this weekend, and I stopped down and I watched about a 15-minute segment of something just because I couldn't stop watching. One of the shows I love to watch is Shark Tank. I get it. Hey, hot taker, Matt. You glommed onto a new TV show, huh? I know that Shark Tank has been around for over a decade, and that the excitement has maybe worn off just a little bit, but it's still a fantastic show. It's still exciting. I just love the passion that every one of these entrepreneurs brings with them, and I just feed off of it. I love it. And this weekend, I saw a rerun from a few years back that just had me in tears with inspiration. Robbie Cabral, we spoke about immigrants a little bit before. Erika was an immigrant. Robbie Cabral was an immigrant who moved to Los Angeles from his native Dominican Republic with dreams of being a rock star. He wanted to be a legit rock star, so he came to L.A. He banged on the doors of every club in L.A. for many, many, many months and couldn't get a gig, and everyone was telling him he wasn't going to be famous. But he still kept working. He was working as a dishwasher. He worked in a laundry room. He was working cleaning gym locker rooms. He eventually realized that he was probably not going to be a rock star, so he changed his focus, and he got an education. He graduated from UCLA. He kept hustling. He eventually landed a job as a real estate agent, and unfortunately, just as his career was starting to take off, he got married. His wife got pregnant. He was laid off during the Christmas holidays, just 2 weeks before his baby boy was set to be born. And at that point, he says he was ready to throw in the towel. He had done everything. He'd worked for years to finally make it. He thought he had made it, and then he got laid off right before his baby was born. He was ready to throw in the towel, but he knew that he could not. He knew that he couldn't throw in the towel because he's got this baby on the way. So he kept working, again, working in gym locker rooms, doing whatever he could to keep his family fed, and eventually his idea came to him. Working in the gym, he'd seen how many people would accidentally lock their locker keys inside their lockers at the gym. That ever happened to you? So this gave him an idea to invent a padlock that, instead of a key, uses the same fingerprint technology that your iPhone uses to open it. His idea was brilliant, but it was his passion that absolutely touched me. His passion and his sheer refusal to give in was so inspiring. This man decided that he was going to succeed no matter what it took. Yes, he failed several times, and in fact, when you look at the statistics, if we're going to look back on Robbie's life eventually, we might even say he failed more often than he succeeded. But you know what? He only needed to succeed once. He never stopped working, he never stopped hustling, and he never stopped failing until he succeeded, and that's what it takes. And oh yeah, by the way, he did accept a $200,000 investment for a 15% equity of his company from Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, and today his product is being sold in Ace Hardware, Amazon, QVC, Walmart. He's also got several other products that he's selling now, and it looks like he's really cruising along there. But I just absolutely loved that attitude of, I came to America with a dream, and that dream got crushed. And I kept working. I kept grinding. I kept at it. I changed my dream, and I was there. I had it in my hand, and it slipped away. And that dream, too, got crushed. But I kept hustling. I kept grinding. I kept at it until I finally made it. Again, doesn't matter how many times you failed. You only need to be successful once. Well, we do have to go out for a commercial one more time. But when we come back, We're going to be joined by a very inspiring young lady. We're coming back with our next senior spotlight. You're going to meet a young lady who's looking forward to graduation in June. We'll be talking to Ari on the other side. And for more information on how COVID-19 is affecting our valley, please go to, that was a strange transition, wasn't it, Shane? Please go to hometownstation.com and click on the red banner. There you'll find tips on the economy, health updates, special business hours, and much, much more. You're listening to SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
Hi, this is Bob Schertz with the Way Out Recovery SCV, reminding you that during these unprecedented times, addiction and mental health do not take a break. If you or someone you love are struggling, please give us a call at 661-296-4444. We are open and here to help you during this time. Thanks.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
Santa Clarita Valley residents now have greater access to the excellent physicians and high-quality medical services for which Providence Holy Cross is known. Providence Holy Cross Health Center in Santa Clarita features state-of-the-art cancer and imaging technologies, as well as board-certified physicians in a variety of medical specialties. Quality and compassion from a healthcare provider you can depend on. For more information, call 1-888-HEALING or visit us at providence.org.
You see so much when you look at your child. A creative spirit that surprises you every day. Curiosity that develops into exploring unique passions. A little leader growing every day to discover who they are, what they love, and how they can make their mark on the world. At SCVi, we see those same amazing things. Our tuition-free K-12 charter school gives your child boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely, with a customized learning program built around each individual student. As iLEAD's founding school, SCVi combines an immersive approach to traditional subject learning with extracurricular activities including STEAM, robotics, theater, music, and sports. SCVi has the only international baccalaureate program in Santa Clarita, with a 10-year proven track record of graduates excelling at top universities. And we're in your backyard, just off the 5 freeway in West Santa Clarita Valley in Castaic. For enrollment information or to learn more about our program, including homeschool options, visit iLEADSantaClarita.org. iLEAD Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
Your building sign is essential to getting customers to your location. Feathers can help you get your business noticed. Feathers, now in a new, larger space with plenty of parking. They walk you through each phase of your project with special attention to detail and quality. Feathers will provide you with a sign that you can be proud of. Your sign will draw customers in instead of having them drive by. Visit Feathers online at feathersigns.com or go to Feathers' brand new, bigger location at 26017 Huntington Drive off Rye Canyon or call 298-9442.
Hi, this is Dr. Palucki, and as an essential service, we'll be open throughout the coronavirus crisis with increased sterilization protocols and staggered scheduling to improve social distancing. If you prefer to stay at home, please download my Healthy Living COVID-19 program on the KHTS Coronavirus Experts page. It's a 30-day online plan with healthy recipes, stress reduction videos, home-based exercises, and supplement guidelines to stay healthy throughout this crisis. We also have several home-based plans for neuropathy, diet, exercise, and home-based rehabilitation. You can schedule a free phone consultation at 661-753-9340 and order any of our immune-enhancing supplements from the products page at drpalucki.com. I'm Dr. Thomas Palucki, and I invite you to come out of this crisis better than ever.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. And welcome into my Facebook Live guests. Good to have you. It's good to be here. You know, spring has really sprung. It got warm over the weekend. It's really nice outside, and spring semester for a high school senior is a magical, magical time filled with lots of fun and excitement and anticipation. There's prom and there's senior ditch day, senior trip, graduation, all kinds of exciting things. At least that's what it's supposed to be, right? But we all know with this pandemic upending everything, the seniors of the class of 2020 have just been turned upside down. And, we here on Eye on the Valley, we want to honor our seniors by maybe spotlighting a few of them from our local high schools over the next couple of months. We're going to be spotlighting a senior every day, at least that is our hope. And today we are joined by Ahriana Galbraith, senior at Empower Generations Charter High School. Good morning, Arianna. How are you today?
Good morning. I am doing well. Thank you.
Fantastic. So some of my listeners know that I lead tours of iLEAD schools from time to time, and one of the stops on our tours is usually Empower Generations, and oftentimes Ari is there to greet me, and she is the absolute best tour guide. We've become friends over this year. So, Arianna, do me a favor. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? How long have you been at Empower Generations? What are some of your interests? What things are you involved in? Tell our listeners about yourself.
Well, I have been at Empower Generations since I was a sophomore. I moved down here after my father served for 20 years in the military. And when I moved down here, I didn't really think I was going to be, attending a charter school. Which, in fact, at that point, I had never heard of a charter school. So transitioning from a normal high school to a charter school was kind of, I wouldn't say stressful. I mean, it was kind of odd because I had to get used to how different everything was. But iLEAD, they gave me a lot of opportunities a normal high school didn't, which was actually really great on my end.
Yeah. Go ahead. So those of you that don't know Empower Generations, Ari's right. It is very different than most local high schools. It's a very, very small school, right, Ari? About what, maybe 170, 200 kids?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so a very, very small school, and obviously there's some things in a school that small that are difficult, but there's also some very beautiful things about attending a school that is that small. You kind of get to know everybody. So Ari, tell us, what were some of your most memorable experiences at your school? You've been there now 3 years, right? Your sophomore year, junior year, senior year. What have been some of the more memorable experiences that you've enjoyed?
Some of my memorable experiences, let's see, there's been quite a few. I do believe a couple of my memorable experiences, one of my favorites was when I first started giving tours, because it gave me a chance to speak my mind and help bring in learners and donations and stuff like that. I did have some struggles as well. But the struggles helped me become stronger. And we all learn from our mistakes. So I'd also have to say definitely the teachers. We've had a couple of teachers, who've really like stuck to it, and they kind of and I would have to say they've given me a pretty good, memorable high school year.
That's good. So now with school closures, you're not on campus anymore. We're all doing this distance learning thing. How's it going? Are you doing okay with the distance learning, or is that hard?
I'm doing pretty good with it. I'm pretty bummed that I won't be able to experience my senior year the way I thought I was going to experience it. I didn't really think I was going to experience it, being on lockdown, but I'm making the most of it.
Well, that's good. So what do you miss most about not being on campus?
Just friends, and seeing all my teachers and seeing all the staff and.
Yeah, I know you're you're very much a socialite and you enjoy being around people, but it's not all bad, is it? Are you enjoying anything about being at home?
I mean, I've been. It's nice to be home because me and my siblings are. I mean, we're getting tired of each other, but we're also bonding.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Now, what are your plans after high school, Ari? What are you doing after graduation?
After graduation, I start college in the fall of this year. I got accepted into Chico University to study animal science as my bachelor.
Oh, fantastic. You're going to Chico State. That is an amazing school.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so here we go, Ari. Are you ready? It's graduation night. You are the valedictorian. You've got the microphone for about another minute and a half, 2 minutes. What would you like to say to your friends, your teachers, your classmates, the rest of the listeners out there? Go for it.
Well, I want to especially thank all of my teachers, because they've each had a role in helping me succeed, and they've helped me, push me to grow, and they've really, honestly, they've really helped me. They've helped me with school, and they've helped me, go through life. And I especially want to thank our principal, Miss Malika, because she was always there for me when I was going through something, and she's really helped me. And I want to thank Tori as well. When she first came to iLEAD, everything changed, and she helped iLEAD grow, and she's been awesome. And then I personally I want to thank my my parents as well as hard-headed and stubborn as he is. He pushed me to do my best, and I want to thank him for that, because if he hadn't done that, I don't think I would be where I am at now, going into college and studying to get my bachelor's in animal science.
That is fantastic, Ari. We really appreciate you coming in. It is time for us to check with local and national news stories. You're listening to SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers with Matt Watson. This is your hometown station, KHTS.
Santa Clarita, bedbugs are taking over our city. They've invaded our homes, our businesses, and most importantly, our sleep. If you have suspicious bites that appear nightly, or have a bug that you need ID'd, your best option is to make one call to All Pro. We offer a 100% guarantee that your bedbug issues will be solved with heat in one treatment. No need to tent or spray your house with chemicals. Heat is all you need. Call 661-298-2200 or text me a bug picture to 661-645-0540. It's time to sleep tight again, SCV.
Town Cleaners on Soledad is offering free dry cleaning for all first responders and medical personnel. Free pickup and delivery is also available. Call Mo at 250-1542. 250-1542. Town Cleaners on Soledad.
He broke records and piloted the F-18 Super Hornet in combat. Answering our nation's call, he served with honor. Then Mike Garcia returned home to his family, to a far worse California from where he grew up. Now, Garcia's next mission, cut taxes, clean up homelessness in our cities. With California on the brink, we need a fighter to answer the call once again. Mike Garcia for Congress.
I'm Mike Garcia, and I approve this message.
The Oasis treatment at the Ivy Day Spa begins with a gentle exfoliation, then rinsed away in warm showers. You're painted with a soothing aloe vera, shea butter, and coconut oil body mask. Then travel through the warm Hydro Cape chambers. The relaxation chamber completes your Oasis body moisturizing treatment with a pH balancing mist and a warm cup of tea. Feel refreshed, hydrated, and relaxed. Pamper yourself. The Ivy Day Spa, Town Center Drive.
Yes, Dunkin' is open. The continued stay-at-home orders have been rough on all of us, but Dunkin' is trying to make things just a little bit better. There are many ways to get your Dunkin' fix. You can carry out at both locations, or you can drive through at Canyon Country, or get curbside service at the Bouquet Canyon Dunkin'. Both offer Grubhub and Postmates delivery and are open till 6 p.m. Don't forget, use your Dunkin' app for on the go to order, pay, and accumulate points. Dunkin' cares about the SCV.
KHTS AM 1220 and 98.1 FM Santa Clarita. It's 10 o'clock. Time for national news on KHTS.
An unprecedented move. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. New York's Board of Elections just voting to cancel the state's Democratic presidential primary in June. However, congressional and state-level primaries will still be held, and voters can use coronavirus as a reason to vote by absentee ballot. Meantime, Governor Cuomo is extending a stay-home order past May 15th, but possibly only for parts of the state. Over a half dozen other states loosen restrictions today.
Restaurants in Georgia are getting even more spick and span as they prepare to allow diners back. Cara DeLala owns Meatballers in Atlanta.
We definitely stepped up the use of the face masks. We weren't using those before, so that's a new element. We're doing a lot more disinfecting.
The order from Georgia's governor insists there are limits as to how filled up the dining room can be. It also requires health screenings of employees.
Fox's Evan Brown, Georgia and Tennessee also allowing movie theaters to open. A divided U.S. Supreme Court dismisses the Second Amendment challenge to a New York gun law.
The Supreme Court will not take up a challenge to a New York City ordinance preventing the transport of firearms outside the city. A lower court upheld the law, but when the Supreme Court agreed to hear the case, both the state of New York and the city amended gun transport regulations. Those changes, an unsigned opinion from the High Court declared, renders the challenge moot, even though a gun rights group continued its challenge.
Fox's Jared Halpern, a costly ruling for the federal government in a fight over an Obamacare provision. The Supreme Court rules 8-1 that the government must pay insurers $12 billion under a program aimed at encouraging them to cover previously uninsured people. A lower court ruled that Congress has suspended the government's payment obligation. The new ruling allows insurers to sue for damages. America is listening to Fox News.
Right now, today, Lowe's is open. Open to build, open to reassure, open to provide the help, support, and supplies that keep our homes working. Open to the idea that when we work together, we can bring it all together. It's what we've always done and what we'll continue to do. Because home is what unites us. Lowe's, here for you, in store or 24/7 at Lowe's.com.
I hate Tom's Tulip Shop. It just smells so flowery. Like we get it, you're a flower shop. You don't need to remind us.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
I needed a fake plant. They don't sell fake plants. Thanks for nothing, Tom.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
Then he says, have a great day. I'll decide what kind of day to have.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
One food giant is warning of a possible food shortage because of so many shuttered meat plants.
Tyson Foods, one of the largest meat processors in the nation, hit a full-page ad in major newspapers this weekend, saying the food supply chain is vulnerable as pork, beef, and chicken plants have been forced to close over coronavirus scares, including a Smithfield pork plant in South Dakota. That Republican Governor Kristi Noem says.
I think in a matter of days it could be open as long as everybody continues to
work together and get it done.
Under mitigation guidelines by the Department of Agriculture and the CDC, South Dakota is one of a handful of states that didn't force businesses to shut down. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
One beef plant in Green Bay becoming the latest to shut down because of coronavirus outbreaks among employees. JBS USA previously closed 3 other plants in Pennsylvania, Colorado, and Minnesota. 2 have since reopened. Sports fans are so hungry for live events that this year's NFL draft set records, even though it was held virtually, led by the commissioner in his basement.
Last year, the NFL draft set a viewership record when it averaged 6.2 million viewers. But this year, between NFL Network, ABC, and ESPN's networks, the draft, according to Nielsen, averaged 8.4 million viewers over the 3-day event. Thursday's first round shattered the previous record. Previous high was 12.4 million viewers in 2014. This past Thursday attracted 15.6 million to the first round of the draft, a 37% increase from last year. Jared Matz, Fox News.
The Fed holds its latest meeting this week, considering its monetary policy, including interest rates amid the coronavirus pandemic. The Dow has been rallying today, up more than 300 points at times, surging back over 24K. I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
Thanks for listening to KHTS AM 1220, Canyon Country, California. K260CO 98.1 FM, Santa Clarita, California.
A lot has changed since the stay-at-home orders went into effect. Since then, KHTS has been providing the latest information to help you and your family better understand COVID-19 with helpful tips and special programming. In the coming days, KHTS will be taking baby steps back into our regular music, news, and midday show format. The Hometown Morning Show with Tori and Kyle will be returning, as will the Afternoon Drive with Aaron Delatorre. Of course, we'll still cover breaking news and the latest on COVID-19 and how it will affect us here in the Santa Clarita Valley. As always, thanks for listening and stay safe.
Santa Clarita Lanes is more than just a bowling center. It's fun, food, and parties for the entire family. In addition to their popular leagues that run every day of the week, Santa Clarita Lanes offers rooms for kids' birthday parties and game rooms. And if you love the NFL, Vincenzo's Pizza is the place to be on Sundays with the complete NFL football package, showing every game on its 10 televisions and widescreens. Whether it's bowling, birthdays, or the NFL, Santa Clarita Lanes offers the best in family entertainment.
As the stay-at-home order continues through the month of April, Burger King is committed to following state and federal safety guidelines when it comes to serving you, the customer. Although in-restaurant dining has closed, pickup and delivery service continues. The current hours are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can mobile order through the BK app for pickup, or you can use any of the delivery services like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and Postmates. Burger King on Lyons at the 5 Freeway, now with service at 2 drive-through windows.
Save water and save money. SCVi Water wants to help you find your fit and take advantage of conservation rebate programs that will help you save. Water your landscape more efficiently. Replace your lawn with water-wise plants. Conduct free in-home water surveys. Cover your swimming pool and more. Find the programs that fit your needs and start saving today. Visit conserve.yourscvwater.com to learn more.
That's conserve.yourscvwater.com.
Hey there, it's Tori with your hometown station weather. Mostly sunny today. However, we do have unhealthy air quality. Highs in the upper 80s, overnight lows in the mid-60s. For anything and everything Santa Clarita Valley related, including the latest on COVID-19 here in the Santa Clarita area, go to hometownstation.com.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
The following is sponsored programming and does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, your host. You're listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. Now, if you're a regular listener, you know that every Monday a member of the COC team has been joining us. You know, they've been sharing some amazing things that they're doing to support their students as well as supporting new students with registration and making sure that during this time where we're all safer at home, people don't have to put delays on their college education and their career path. We're joined this morning by Larry Schallert. He's the Assistant Director of Student Health and Wellness and Mental Health Programs at COC. He directs the college's personal counseling and wellness outreach programs and is a member of the behavioral intervention and sexual assault response teams. This guy's got an amazing resume. Check this out. He graduated from USC with a master's in social work. He's a licensed clinical social worker, holds a pupil personnel services credential, a diploma in clinical social work, and has a private practice consulting and serving youth, families, and adults. Larry's been an adjunct professor teaching master's level psychopathology and assessment courses. He has over 35 years leadership experience working in community mental health and education. He's received local, state, and national recognition for his leadership in developing school-based mental health programming, and several of his programs have been used as models for the LA County. Most recently, he's been honored at the NASW's California Social Worker of the Year, as the NASW's California Social Worker of the Year, and his program received congressional recognition for leadership in the area of addressing mental health on campus and in the community. He's also published some articles in national journals and presented at local, state, and national conferences on a variety of issues related to school, college-based mental health, autism, and mental illness. He chairs the Santa Clarita Valley Committee on Suicide Prevention and Postvention and is a past chair and founding member of the SCVi Blue Ribbon Task Force on Transition-Aged Youth and the Committee on Human Trafficking. He initiated and chaired the SCVi Interagency Committee, is on the Board of Activities, Recreation, and Care, the ARC, a program designed for persons with developmental disabilities, and is a board member of the California Community College Mental Health and Wellness Association, representing the southern section of the state. He also chairs COC's Body Mind Wellness Committee, was on the SCVi Anti-Gang Task Force and the Coalition for Dually Diagnosed and the West Side Regional Task Force for Regional Centers. He helped to form the Autism Social Alliance on the campus at COC, and he is a member of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Threat Assessment Regional Evaluation Team, Target. How cool is that? It's a working group and Los Angeles Committee DMH Service Area Advisor Committee. And he's collaborated with city, county, state, and community partners in order that seamless services are provided throughout. I've just got totally lost here. Provided through cooperation, training, and linkage. Whew! That is a heck of a resume. Mr. Schallert, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, it's really my pleasure. I forgot about all that stuff.
It seems like you have lived 3 or 4 lifetimes of excellent leadership, and you're doing a lot for our community, Larry. Thank you so much for all your service.
Well, you're very welcome. It's really a pleasure, and it's a pleasure to work at the College of the Canyons, and that they allow me to do the kinds of things that I do, and it's a great platform to work with the community and work with you guys in the media and our students on campus and the faculty and staff. So I'm kind of honored to be in the place I am at this point.
And it's always such a pleasure to talk with someone who gets so much pleasure out of helping others. So tell us, Larry, how is COC's personal counseling program managing the precautionary period? What services are available, and how are you delivering them now that we're all safer at home?
So after much gnashing of teeth and a couple of weeks of how are we going to do this, we have really developed a pretty sophisticated personal remote counseling program for starters. We're on Zoom, so we do face-to-face meetings with students, and we do phone meetings with students depending upon their preference. And it's interesting, some students really prefer, Zoom remote where you have a video, and some prefer to have, just the phone, so they have, more privacy and less face-to-face. So that's been going really well. We students can call in, or they can email the Student Health and Wellness. We have a website called Student Health Center at canyons.edu, and they can make an appointment for free counseling. So that's a pretty big deal. Then we're doing medical counseling too, so you can also call that number or use that email and have some medical counseling. So our medical people are also talking to students about, COVID, but also about, regular stuff like STDs and, other male and female kind of things and that sort of stuff. Pregnancy counseling, that sort of thing. And we have our relationship with our local lab so we can get things done that way.
So
we have...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So we have, connections, for homeless, so students that are homeless or at risk of homelessness. We have a really nice connection with Village Family Services. We're still helping students enroll in medical insurance with Medi-Cal and Covered California. We have a really cool website. We're using apps now, and we have clubs. Some of our clubs are still going with the Autism Club, Active Minds, and MyGen, My Fight. So we have Zoom team meetings, so we work together with all of our teams, and so we're still going, and we're still going with the Santa Clarita Suicide Prevention, Post-Prevention, and Wellness Committee. So we're still working together with the community, seeing what's going on, what people are doing, and making referrals in that way. So we're still really active, very active.
That is great. That's, I hear so many different places scaling back services during these times, and you understand, right? There's only certain things that you can do if you can't get out and physically reach people. But you guys are still working to make sure that you're taking care of the physical, the mental, and the emotional needs of your students. It really is amazing. I hear oftentimes that cliche of the starving student, but especially if you're enrolled at COC, if you're willing to reach out, you've got a lot of services available for you, don't you?
Oh, for sure. We, not only do we help with the homeless, but, we have our bank program that's, pretty much run by Michael Jocelyn and Brenda Clark, where if you have a food insecurity, they'll figure out a way to help you. And as will we have our case manager. So if somebody's homeless or at risk of homelessness, we have financial aid available, or the Village Family Services has financial aid available, and they're really interested in helping our students in any possible way they can. So that's been really, really gratifying. And, what we're noticing is that as midterms come up, students are getting more and more stressed. At first it was like, well, I'm stressed because it's a change, and there's this kind of grief thing going on and loss and all this that we can maybe talk about later. But recently we're seeing, real serious, suicidal thoughts and people getting super anxious and panicky as the stress of the semester is on top of everything else. Because students, this is college, so it's hard.
Yeah, and it can be stressful, but now it's just another layer on top of all of the other things we're dealing with.
That's exactly right. Exactly it. It's not. I tell students, college is stressful. We don't give you a diploma to go get ice cream. We give you a diploma to go to college, and it's hard. And some of us that went to college a long time ago, we forgot how stressful it can be but when there's other things going on, it makes it even more difficult.
Yeah.
So we've been consulting with teachers all the time. Faculty call us up or email us with, what's going on, and so we consult with them and try to connect with the student that they're concerned about. Those sort of things are still happening.
That is great. So if you're enrolled at COC, you've got a tremendous amount of support and services. Just reach out, even if it's to one of your professors, and they'll get you in contact with people that can help out with the stress, with the anxiety, with whatever you're going through. But Larry, you've also got a tremendous amount of experience in the community supporting folks in our city. Do you know what other resources are available in the Santa Clarita Valley for those of us who maybe aren't enrolled at COC, and how we can access those?
Yeah, we have a really unique community that really, all of our providers and city, and we all really like and do work closely together. So we sort of know each other. But the number, there's a number of providers here. There's like Child and Family Center, of course. There's the Santa Clarita Mental Health Center. There's a Children's Bureau. And for students that are K-12, the school district counselors, I happen to know most of them. I've trained a lot of them. when they worked at Child and Family, but they're excellent, and so they're still doing remote counseling as well. Child and Family Center is doing remote and face-to-face counseling. They have a crisis center, so students that are K-12 or parents that have students can call their school district counselors. There's the Vet Center is still rocking and rolling. They're on our campus. So is Child and Family Center. They're on our campus co-located when we're in session, but now we don't have this easy access to them. But they do have a really strong counseling program that they're doing remote in Chatsworth and Sepulveda. So they do live and remote. So if somebody's a veteran, they can call the Chatsworth Veteran Center and get services. There's the DMH Urgent Care. And of course, there's the Henry Mayo. They'll have some amazing social workers over at Henry Mayo Center and their behavioral health unit there, but also in their medical program. And, Sam Dixon Family Center has this really cool little mental health program that's basically free. So you can call Sam Dixon and set up a counseling program there, and they actually have little groups that they're going to. And then there's SDR Straightening Reins, where, it's like equine therapy, and there's Way Out Recovery that does, substance abuse kinds of counseling. And so we put together this website called BeTheDifferenceSCV.org, and that website you can get to virtually any one of these. When you ask how they can be accessed, you can go in to go Be the Difference, and we have all the phone numbers of all the nonprofits. But there's also lots of private practitioners if somebody has insurance. And, there's Kaiser and Facey. They're working overtime, I happen to know. And if you have Kaiser or Facey, they have some great counselors. I've written a lot of their recommendations to the counselors that work there. And they're excellent. So, there's lots of providers, and everybody's stretching, to try to help students and our people, and there's also, of course, the senior center that has Etta Martin over there as a licensed social worker, mental health person. So everybody's stretching and trying to help and trying to be aware of some of the mental health issues that are going on out there and doing the best we can. So there's just, like you say, just reach out to somebody and there'll be a resource out there that will try to help.
Yeah, people are good, and I think during trying times we bring out the best in each other oftentimes, and it's beautiful how large organizations all the way down to individual people are really stepping up to be the difference, to make the difference in other people's lives. You mentioned a tremendous amount of resources there. We did post on our Facebook Live feed the Be the Difference SCV.org website, so if you're looking for some help, go ahead and click on that link and reach out to them for some support. Now, Larry, we talked about students and the anxiety and stress that they can be under, and we're all under a higher level of stress and anxiety. What kinds of mental health issues are you starting to notice in response to the sheltering in place?
So, it's just a real wide variety, a big spectrum of problems, and but probably seems like the most obvious one that really came out right in the beginning is the whole grief and loss of normalcy and predictability. And it's exacerbated by there's no definite end to it. It's like there's one thing if there's a loss, if you lost a parent or you lose a relationship or something like that. But there's no end to this, and so it creates this kind of anxiety. And we know with grief, there's all kinds of feelings like loss and anger and blame and guilt sometimes, and sadness. But the normal going to school, doing your normal routine is gone. And that was huge. I want to say especially for college students, but it's especially for everyone.
Right,
But on a college campus, the students we're talking to, they never realized how much they liked coming to college. We talked about college being stressful and difficult, but the fun part of college is coming to school, coming on the campus. It's like a lot of really smart people, smart mentors, a lot of engaging with the world and the universe and that sort of thing, and the socializing and all the good stuff about college is when you get there, it's the homework that they don't like, and so now they're stuck with homework and no fun coming on campus. So and some of them never even realized that that's the part that they really liked about college, and they're able to talk about how they miss it. And as we talk to them about the sadness of missing big events on campus, and the huge stress of trying to learn new ways of doing things, and the fear of the future, you have to think about it yourself. Well, what's this going to be like? Are we going to run out of food? Are we going to run out of money? And what's going to happen to us all? But what's going to happen to me personally when it comes down to everybody have to sort of think about their own problems and their own situation? The other thing, though, is people with pre-existing mental health conditions are particularly at risk. And, we're talking about, somebody that has OCD, for instance, that's already concerned about, germs and viruses and, making sure everything's going right. And then people with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, major depression, if you have schizophrenia and you're isolated and you're alone, you don't have anybody to sort of, bounce reality off, and you can just keep going into that world, and it can be really, really distressful. And same with bipolar disorder and major depression. Then you have people like with domestic violence. If there's stress in the home already, stress in the relationship, domestic violence can be a real issue. And the Child and Family Center does now have that domestic violence program. So we really want people to reach out to them before it gets bad. But with everybody isolated, things like child abuse and domestic violence can get, to a really severe point before somebody notices what's going on or reach out. But, of course, there's family problems and economic problems, and there's people with PTSD. And this is like almost a traumatic stress reaction event for everybody, And then if you already have PTSD, our veterans, for instance, I was just talking to a student, faculty this morning about a female veteran that she's really, really concerned about that has PTSD, but now you're isolated and it can get really worse with the boredom. Now they get the boredom and loneliness, and we're seeing suicidality. Hopefully we have not had one in our campus for 3 years now, so we're really trying to keep people talking.
Yeah.
And we don't want to go ahead, sorry.
No, that's what I was going to say is that's so important is to keep talking to folks, keep accessing your resources. This is an inconvenient and frustrating time for all of us, but for some of us it can be a really dangerous time. And so we just want to encourage our listeners that be quick to reach out. I know the first thing in that comes across your mind is typically, it's not that bad. You know what? If it's not that bad, call somebody and tell them how bad it isn't. Right? Talk to somebody.
Yeah.
We're talking this morning with Larry Schallert, Assistant Director of Student Health and Wellness and Mental Health Programs at COC. We've got a lot more to talk about, so we're going to continue our conversation with Larry when we come back. So please stick around. For more information on how COVID-19 is affecting our valley, please go to hometownstation.com and click on the red banner. There you're going to find tips on the economy, health updates, special business hours, and much, much more. You're listening to SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
He broke records and piloted the F-18 Super Hornet in combat. Answering our nation's call, he served with honor. Then Mike Garcia returned home to his family, to a far worse California from where he grew up. Now, Garcia's next mission: cut taxes, clean up homelessness in our cities. With California on the brink, we need a fighter to answer the call once again. Mike Garcia for Congress.
I'm Mike Garcia, and I approve this message.
You see so much when you look at your child. A creative spirit that surprises you every day. Curiosity that develops into exploring unique passions. A little leader growing every day to discover who they are, what they love, and how they can make their mark on the world. At SCVi, we see those same amazing things. Our tuition-free K-12 charter school gives your child boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely, with a customized learning program built around each individual student. As iLEAD's founding school, SCVi combines an immersive approach to traditional subject learning with extracurricular activities including STEAM, robotics, theater, music, and sports. SCVi has the only international baccalaureate program in Santa Clarita, with a 10-year proven track record of graduates excelling at top universities. And we're in your backyard, just off the 5 freeway in West Santa Clarita Valley in Castaic. For enrollment information or to learn more about our program, including homeschool options, visit iLEADSantaClarita.org. iLEAD Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
Santa Clarita Valley residents now have greater access to the excellent physicians and high-quality medical services for which Providence Holy Cross is known. Providence Holy Cross Health Center in Santa Clarita features state-of-the-art cancer and imaging technologies, as well as board-certified physicians in a variety of medical specialties. Quality and compassion from a healthcare provider you can depend on. For more information, call 1-888-HEALING or visit us at providence.org.
This is Suzette Martinez Valadares. Many child care centers are closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The child care providers that are open are serving our essential workforce and finding it very difficult to find or purchase the supplies needed to keep their facilities clean and children healthy. Our healthcare professionals are fighting to save lives. First responders and law enforcement are bravely serving our community. And our grocery store clerks are keeping our local markets stocked. This is our chance to help them. This is why we are launching Operation Childcare. Our mission is to collect donations for local early childhood education providers serving our frontline essential workforce. Donations needed include hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes, disinfectant spray, disposable gloves, and masks. These donations can be dropped off at KHTS Radio, located at 24320 Main Street in Newhall, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday.
With the safe disposal of waste from our homes in the Santa Clarita Valley, Chiquita Canyon Landfill is able to create enough green energy to power 10,000 homes each year. So you can feel good that the waste from your home in the SCV is helping create a clean energy source and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Chiquita Canyon Landfill is our partner in sustainable living.
Chiquita Canyon is helping lead the way to a greener future.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. You're listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm your host, Matt Watson. We're here with Larry Schallert, who is the Assistant Director of Student Health and Wellness and Mental Health Programs at College of the Canyons. And he and I were having a great conversation during the break. In fact, we considered continuing it here on the air, but instead, I think what we're going to do is we're going to continue talking about all the amazing things that Larry and his team are doing to help take care of our students and the rest of us here in the Santa Clarita Valley. So, Larry, we were talking about all the different side effects and different things that get exacerbated now as we're quote-unquote safer at home. And you were mentioning that some of us aren't necessarily safer now that we're at home 24/7. So let's talk now. Let's turn our focus on parents who are looking to keep an eye on their kids. You know, first of all, obviously we got to put our mask on ourselves, take care of ourselves. But as parents, how should parents be handling things with their children and adolescents, and what should they be looking for that might indicate some sort of problem or need for professional help in their kids?
So what I try to tell parents and anybody who will listen is what they should do is start by doing their own self-care, you know, so taking their own downtime, exercising, and being a role model, you know, for self-care, you know, because they're now really stuck with, if the word is stuck, they have the honor of having multiple roles, which, they're a parent, now they're a teacher, they're Zooming with their teacher, they're often a spouse, and they're often responsible for an elderly parent or somebody that's disabled, and they may or may not be able to even connect with that elderly parent, in a face-to-face sort of way. So we really want parents to take care of themselves and do their own kind of whatever they do for self-care, whether it's, and we can talk about self-care kind of coping strategies along the way, but taking that time for themselves so that they can be really there with their kid. But we want them to, limit social media, at least where I'm recommended, and other news, you can turn on the TV once in a while, just make sure you're up to date with, with everything, but having it on all day long and just, so you want them to sort of limit the social media of the kids if they possibly can. We want them to take time to talk with and listen to their child, not just talk to, but listen, answer questions truthfully, with age-appropriate language, not too fancy. But if they're, if you have a teenager, talk with, one-to-one as an equal. You're all equally worried about this stuff, and reassure that they are safe, And we try to say keep regular routines. Still get up, take showers, do your homework, try to get as routine as you can, with sleep and eating and that sort of thing, and then watch for stuff like if a child's doing excessive crying, they're excessively worried or sad, they're really having difficulty concentrating or learning, and it's not necessarily due to attention deficit. If they're starting to act out, they're really irritable. If they're avoiding fun activities, they used to really like to skateboard, they used to do this or that, and they don't like to do it anymore. Now they're getting headaches, or they're not eating right, and they're having sleep problems, they can't go to sleep, or they sleep too much, or having nightmares. And with teenagers, of course, we're really trying to look at, use of alcohol, drugs of any kind, of course, and vaping now is like a real danger, and excessive video game use. Those are all things that teenagers can get into and can really be destructive. And so you kind of watch for those sort of things, and if any of those things start getting out of hand or getting serious, then consider a referral to a professional counselor or agency, some of those agencies we talked about. Because everybody, we have a lot of experts, Child and Family Center and Children's Bureau, and a lot of our private practitioners and really good family therapy going on in those agencies. And, but anybody, like you said, just reach out to somebody and find some place to go to talk about it.
Yeah, I know a lot of mental health care professionals have done a great job transitioning into telehelp and different kinds of sessions. My son still sees his therapist twice a month, and they do it through the computer now, and it's funny. He'll just lock himself in his room, say, hey, I'm going to be on the line with the therapist, don't bug me. And so
perfect.
Services are out there. But so just kind of look for, I guess, overall, just changes in your kid. If your kid's changing during this time, that could be a red flag, or regular behaviors, but then they start to go to the extreme. And you said something really, really key. Self-care is so important. Yes, for parents to care for themselves so that they can care for their kids, but also they're modeling. Yeah. That's great. I had a friend mention to me a few years back that, she was worried about me. She says, yes, you do need to drive a little bit more safely, but most of all because your kids are watching you. They're watching you, and they're developing their habits. Same thing with self-care at home. Your kids are watching you. So keep an eye on yourself, because your kids certainly are.
Right.
We talk about self-care, and coping is one of the most important strategies that people can use. What kinds of coping strategies do you recommend, Larry, for the community while we're trying to get through these tough times?
So we have a lot of them that we recommend, and in no particular order. Off the top of my head, there's journaling and creative writing. Those are two ways to sort of keep your head in your head and noting your feelings instead of being mindful of your feelings. and what you're thinking instead of letting them kind of run away from you. But also, keeping a good schedule, a good routine, eating healthy, getting a proper amount of sleep. We really underestimate the importance of sleep sometimes. There's been some amazing studies coming out now that show good sleep really helps with all kinds of things in terms of mental health and health in general, memory and concentration. But also, connect with your creative side. If you have a musical instrument, if you like to sing, if you like to paint, bake, cooking, gardening, all that kind of stuff is good coping strategies. Like I said before, you want to reduce the media, maybe not watch Facebook so much because it can be irritating after a while. Maybe it feels good for the first, 5 minutes when you get that little dopamine hit, but eventually it becomes an irritant. And, connect with family, friends, old friends. Like, for instance, I've texted old friends from college or people that I haven't talked to in a long time, and, they're happy to hear from you. That fine, you're fine, we're good, or we're not good. Just to be able to sort of connect with extended family or join a Zoom group, exercise, hike, walk the neighborhood. That seems like the easiest thing to do, but I have students that don't want to leave the house, and I say, I think you can leave the house. You can walk around the neighborhood, take a little drive. We can teach breathing techniques on the phone, but you can learn them with all kinds of different ways with breathing techniques using, meditation, or skip the meditation, just do mindfulness and visualization. Volunteering is really good if you can do it safely with food banks and testing facilities and political campaigns, and attend a city council meeting,
Yeah.
Wet days, go swimming. I know some people that they swim in the backyard. I go, that sounds safe. Using the jacuzzi. And, somebody, I read in a newspaper, somebody suggested just random acts of kindness. And it seems so small, but it really, you do feel good when you just do something for somebody else. And finally, we have this series of apps that I wasn't really into apps when I, 5 years ago or even 3 years ago. But we have a lot of young therapists. We have two very good young therapists that are on our team now, and they really understand the new tech that's going on, and so they've made a list of apps that are really useful. And I've gone on to them like Sandvello and Cove and Calm Harm and Quit That and Mind Shift. There's, I got probably 20 of them that all help with, mindfulness and keeping your stress down and keeping journaling and concentrating, just different ways to sort of keep your feet on the ground and manage the stress and being aware of what kind of stress you're having. And some of them, like Liftly, actually has peers. You can talk, and there'll be peers that they've trained to kind of get back to you. So all those, all those things work. Some work for some people, some work for others. My favorite is guitar. I'll just grab that guitar and play and bang out a song or write a song or whatever. And walking and you know what? I drove out to the Poppies yesterday.
Nice.
And it was great. It's like, yeah, let's go out to the Poppies. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am not musically inclined, but that didn't stop me over the weekend from belting out a song and posting it on social media. So whatever it is that helps you cope, just get in touch with it. There's in 2020, there's so many different ways to get out there. Now, that's for all of us that are at home, but there are folks who aren't able to stay at home and are out there on the front lines. What about our first responders, like healthcare workers, law enforcement, firefighters, those brave citizens in trucks delivering mail or working at grocery stores? That can be a dangerous thing right now, or even collecting trash, distributing food, working at the homeless shelter, harvesting our food, all the rest. There's so many people out there that kind of are out there and at a greater level of danger than the rest of us. How can they help themselves cope and get by?
Well, we want them to remember some of those coping skills, but we want, as a community, to remember that they can be having PTSD themselves, and especially it can be really worse when things feel hopeless, and things feel endless, and every day they're in danger. I mean, I've talked with doctors. My son is a doctor in the ER, for instance, and my daughter works, is a mental health specialist. She's volunteering in a surge hospital up in Sacramento, and it's like, hey, you're endangering yourself every single moment you're there, and so it can create really a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress, and they really have to try to pay attention. But we have to make sure that we know that they're also dealing with it. You mentioned the grocery store person, the people at the food banks, just people that are driving trucks, and what about corrections officers?
Oh, man.
They're in the middle of it, and so we know that they have a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress, especially if they don't have the PPE, the personal protective equipment, and they have family too. So they're coming home. Like, for instance, my son comes home, and before he even gets into the house, he's stripping off his clothes and taking a shower before he gets 2 feet past the first guest room there.
Yeah.
So because he's got to worry about his family, and all these people that you mentioned have to worry about their family. But you got a guy working at a grocery store, a young lady or whatever at the grocery store, the Home Depot. They're working all night and they're exhausted, and then they're coming home, and guess what? So there's a lot of stress, and there's fatigue, and then there's guilt. The workers are seeing death and dying constantly. Or there's people feeling guilt for not going out more, and even though it's not safe. So we really want them to ask for help. Law enforcement. We all know law enforcement are kind of the last ones to ask for help.
Right.
And I tell them, same with firefighters, and veterans. I tell them that's professional help is a tool. You got your handcuffs and you got your firearms and you got your counseling. And that's what's going to help you to be better at whatever you're doing, be a better police officer, be a better soldier. So we want them to reach out and ask for help. We really suggest that they do debriefing. And I don't care whether you're, an ER doc or a nurse or a grocery store person. Do debriefing with your team. We're doing it every week. Our team meets, and we debrief what went down that week, and I talk to all my therapists and about what's going on with them. So and we don't want them. We want them to sort of allow time to recover. So if you're always at it, we want you to take the time to recover, on a daily basis if possible, and but do some of those those coping strategies, because it can get really intense, and it's for some it's getting more and more intense, and as you kind of sort of noted that the longer you're out there, the more you're at risk. And so we want to thank those folks, thank our health workers, thank our law enforcement, our firefighters, our corrections officers, our trucks, our mail people, all the people you mentioned, people that are working in the homeless shelter. Geez,
Yeah.
Who's doing that? Well, those people are really brave, and they're really doing something important. So
definitely, and the best way, I think you're right, that we can give back to them is to remind them, hey, are you taking care of yourself? Have you talked to someone? Have you debriefed this experience? You hit on police officers, and you're absolutely right. My father was a police officer for 30 years, and he was always the last one to ask for someone else's help. He was always the one that took care of everybody else's need.
Yeah.
And that's a huge weight on someone's shoulders. And then with that thought that you could be bringing something that's potentially dangerous home every day is really stressful. So encourage those folks. Thank those folks so much. Thank them for their service, but then remind them that they need to be taking care of themselves. Larry, we have some things that we need to take care of, but I want to thank you so much for your time and everything that you do to take care of our students at COC and the rest of the community. Thank you so much, Larry, for these important reminders and resources that you've given us today. Thanks again for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Of course. We're going to take our last commercial break. Please stay tuned. Christina DeBray, our show's official licensed marriage and family therapist, is going to be joining us to continue the conversation on how we take care of ourselves. You're listening to SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
As the stay-at-home order continues through the month of April, Burger King is committed to following state and federal safety guidelines when it comes to serving you, the customer. Although in-restaurant dining has closed, pickup and delivery service continues. The current hours are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can mobile order through the BK app for pickup, or you can use any of the delivery services like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and Postmates. Burger King on Lyons at the 5 Freeway, now with service at 2 drive-through windows.
Mission Valley Bank is a commercial bank in the Santa Clarita Valley that really puts the community into community banking.
At Mission Valley Bank, we strive to be a trusted advisor to our clients, and that means being an integral part of the communities we serve. We started the Give Where You Live program to help bring awareness to our nonprofit partners. We're more than just a local business bank. In fact, we're a full-service, independent commercial bank that is locally owned, community-minded, and relationship-driven. I'm Tamara Gurney, President and CEO of Mission Valley Bank, and I invite you to experience the Mission Valley Bank difference, where your success is our mission. We want to be your most valued bank.
Mission Valley Bank has been named Most Trusted Advisor Business Banker by the San Fernando Valley Business Journal 5 years in a row, and received the Business Leadership Award by the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce, Valley Industry Association, and SCVi Economic Development Corporation. Visit them at their Center Point branch location or at missionvalleybank.com. Member FDIC.
Town Cleaners on Soledad is offering free dry cleaning for all first responders and medical personnel. Free pickup and delivery is also available. Call Mo at 250-1542. 250-1542. Town Cleaners on Soledad.
He broke records and piloted the F-18 Super Hornet in combat. Answering our nation's call, he served with honor. Then Mike Garcia returned home to his family, to a far worse California from where he grew up. Now, Garcia's next mission: cut taxes, clean up homelessness in our cities. With California on the brink, we need a fighter to answer the call once again. Mike Garcia for Congress.
I'm Mike Garcia, and I approve this message.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. You know, we've been talking a lot about it. It seems like we've had two recurring themes, and that is mental health and inspiration. We talked with Erika Cedeno about the things that she's doing with her Spanish students over at SCVi, and she's quite an inspirational lady herself. And we spoke with Ari at Empower Generations and how she's inspired. She's heading on to, what did she say, Chico State, I think she's going to. And we talked to Larry the last two segments about keeping our mental health. And now we're going to take that inspiration and mental health, and we're going to ball it up all in one. We're joined now by Christina DeBray, a licensed marriage and family therapist, with a remarkable story of inspiration, resilience, determination, and she has parlayed that into an amazing career as a trauma and resilience specialist, which is such an important resource during these times. Christina is a graduate of Cal State Northridge, Go Matadors. She's also a University of Pepperdine Wave who practices here in Valencia. She's studied extensively, including things like trauma, phobias, attachment disorders, suicide prevention, grief. Boy, we've all got a lot of grief going on right now, so we could all use a little help along the lines of what Christina provides. She's got more than 18 years of speaking experience, which is amazing. That's more than half of her life. She's worked with medical professionals, patients, schools, parents, business professionals. Christina, good morning. Thanks for joining us again.
Good morning.
It's good to have you back. We were talking with Larry from COC about all the different resources that our community has. Christina, depending on when you start counting, we're talking about how we're all quarantined, we're all locked down, and it seems so draconian, but we're keeping ourselves safe. But, we've kind of been living in crisis mode, again, depending on who you are, for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks now. And that got me thinking, I don't know that we can sustain that type of level of crisis. Our bodies are really good about shifting into crisis mode and taking care of ourselves short term. But can we live that long? Can we live 7, 8, 10, 12 weeks in crisis high alert mode?
Well, that is a great question. And the short answer is yes, we can, but only if we do it right. Okay. Because if we don't do it right, then we will have some short-term and long-term consequences. Mm-hmm. So the reason that I know that is because I've already been living this way for decades. For the past 30 years, I'm living with cystic fibrosis. There is an entire community of people within the cystic fibrosis community who have already been living life 6 feet apart. And even though we are, quote-unquote, socially isolated, I think that the better way to conceptualize that is that we are physically isolated. Because I have learned that we are never... Sorry, this is Pedro playing with his toy right here. He was biting me, and then he had to go get his toy.
For those of you that don't know, Pedro is Christina's Chihuahua mix. He's an extremely vivacious little guy, and he realizes it's time to go out and play. Pedro, we need Mama for about 5 more minutes. Can you give us a few more minutes? So, Christina, you were saying you've lived your entire life with cystic fibrosis, and that's helped you live in crisis mode. We've only got about 1 or 2 more minutes. Can you share how you did that?
Well, I really would like to spend the next few days talking about that more in depth. Really, it's not just one simple thing that I was able to do. It was learning about how to adapt to the new normal. And I remember I was about 5 years old when the 6-foot rule was implemented in my life, and it was a huge shock. And I was able to deal with that, as were so many other people in my community. So I'd really like to explore that in the next few days.
Okay, yeah, fantastic. We'll talk about that over the next week or so. We appreciate it. Larry talked about how important it is for our listeners to reach out and get help if they think they need it. So if you think you need help, or like we said, if you don't think you need help, you think you're just fine, it's not too bad, then call Christina and tell her how great it is. Just reach out, talk to someone. Christina can be reached at 661-513-4857 or at ChristinaDebre.com. That's Kristina. Debre is spelled Debree. I'll post it in the Facebook comments here at the end of the show. Like I said, that is all the time that we have for today, but tune in tomorrow, and every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. we'll be talking to Christina just about every day about how we can get into that new normal and how we can survive living in crisis mode long term. Join us tomorrow. We'll be joined by our mayor, Cameron Smythe, as well as Marley Loffer from Henry Mayo, and our good friend Christina Debre. This is Matt Watson with Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers, and you're listening to your hometown station, KHTS. Stay home, everybody.